Hey, I'm live. Awesome. Let's get into this. Welcome to day number 23 of D&December. I'm still doing it. I'll wake up eventually here. So let's talk about metagaming. Metagaming basically is the general idea of players using player knowledge to affect what their characters do rather than relying primarily on character knowledge. So there's good and bad in all of this. If you are the player who is relying on their encyclopedic knowledge of every monster and every situation and or everything you've read from the DM's notes or from a module that he's happening to run, and you're making all your decisions based on that module, you're probably metagaming in the bad way. It's a pretty simple thing is you are playing a character in a world and your character has to discover things. So the short answer is if you are metagaming in that way where you are trying to beat the game by saying, oh, my character knows all this stuff. Yes, that's what I will do. That's not the way that you play the game properly. Exceptions, of course, include if your DM says, then your character has this knowledge, and they say you can look at the monster manual to determine what you're playing, or you get a certain amount of free passes, a certain amount of information you can bring in from the real world, or you're doing a riddle that only real world knowledge would help you with. And maybe it's something you can look at a little bit more and kind of go with. But generally, if you are using metagaming to cheat the game from what your character would experience, then it's bad. But I also look at metagaming as a good thing. Metagaming, for example, if the DM is setting up the adventure, pointing in that direction, but your character may not necessarily be motivated or you don't have a real strong reason, you metagame to figure out the reason your character is going to do what your character is supposed to do to be in the adventure. You may have to roleplay a few things, or your character's hesitant, or you're sitting in the corner being broody because you're the edgelord and saying, I have to sit in the back corner because that is what I do because I'm the edgelord. Also, my name's Batman. I'm going to play an edgelord one day, and I'll totally talk in this voice at all times. And then I'll get dry throat because I won't be able to talk very long like this. Because I'm broody. Also Batman. So, metagaming in those situations is perfectly okay and perfectly awesome and is designed to keep the game going. So, if I were to break it out into the shortest terms, metagaming to break the game and cheat, bad. Metagaming to keep the game going and help things flow along, good. There you go. That's it. I don't have anything more to say, except Bardic Meta-knowledge. So let me explain Bardic Meta-knowledge in detail. Bardic Meta-knowledge is the ability of certain characters to have awareness of the real world outside of the character's knowledge. You actually can inject some player knowledge into the game. The only rule is that when using Bardic Meta-knowledge, you can gain no mechanical or tactical advantage from any bit of information. It's basically Ferris Bueller. It's basically Deadpool. All of them have knowledge. They kind of know what's going on, but they're going to keep going through the story. Deadpool probably knows he's going to hurt himself punching Colossus in the first one, but he does it anyway. And then he does it again. And yeah, that's what happens. So my character, Arn Moonsong, is legendary for her Bardic Meta-knowledge. For example, she's not a big fan of bards because she's currently in Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, and 3.5 bards sucks. She knows because she remembers she was one in last life, and she knows that the spell progression sucks, and the attack progression sucks, and everything sucks. And there's no real advantage to playing a bard in 3.5 unless you have good, solid party members, and you really just need that fifth party member to boost your stuff. If you have the fighter, the rogue, the wizard, and the cleric, a bard is a perfect fifth one. In 5e, you can kind of get away with having a bard to replace somebody else because they can be pretty oomphy spellcasters if you want them. And don't even get me started on older versions because bards were not the best. But they weren't the worst either, and that's the most important thing. So, Bardic Meta-knowledge allows your character to know something about the creatures that won't necessarily have a tactical advantage. The character may be aware of the actions of the DM, may be aware of the fact that they are a character in a game. They might be aware of their player and of the real world, and will obviously be there for humorous moments. So it's one thing that if you want to incorporate into a specific character, especially a character has been through a few lives, if you're playing the 18th or 19th incarnate, if you're playing like the 18th iteration of Spango Garnet Killer, for example, then having some knowledge of your prior lives and knowing that your prior lives were all kinds of things and that you have this knowledge, but you don't really know this knowledge, it's kind of fun. Furthermore, if you are keeping your notes on the adventure and you notice that you note that the character's out because of COVID, that's something Arin Moonsong has actually done. She actually is aware of those things. And that's what makes the character fun. It's a great way to inject humor. Naturally, you have to balance it out with everything else in your game and not blow up the... Thank you for telling me, computer. Sorry, my computer interrupted me to tell me Christmas Eve is tomorrow. No shit. So now that my train of thought on Bardic Meta-knowledge and metagaming in general has been run off the rails, let's just get out of here because I got to go and drink some more hot cocoa because again, feeling Christmassy, maybe get some more Christmas music playing or Christmas movies. I watched the one where Bing Crosby's tap dance with Danny and Kay. And that's the actual movie, White Christmas, not Christmas Vacation, where they make that joke. But oh well. So tell me some of the more interesting ways you've metagamed in the comments. I would appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow for I don't know what, but it will be fun. It will also be the last one before Christmas. And then comes the Luke Gygax video. And I hope you enjoy that. So until next time.